Welcome back into the Mid Norfolk garden here on a rather nicely cool August evening. It's been swelteringly hot here and dry for the last month. I promised I'd show you this bit of what used to be the old kitchen garden, and Kate gradually took over as the cutting garden, and we videoed it a couple of months ago as part of our Digger-geddon session when we had the builders going through this with drains and electrical cables, and they were parking a mini digger and a tipper in this garden, and well, at that stage it looked a complete mess, and we wondered whether it was going to ever recover and become a beautiful garden again. But this is the view we've got now from the barn conversion we've done here, and the star performers really earlier in the season were the big run of roses to my left, now completely finished. They're all ramblers that give a single big flush, but now we've planted this as a white garden because it's become really by its own accord a white and yellow mixed planting. The star performers are those big giant agapanthus. Just look at the size of these flowers. This is Alba, one of the large leaf varieties. Just look at the size of the crown on this. It's like a giant oniony leek type growth. I know these aren't going to be particularly hardy. These big softer ones that sit on the surface with the large leaves do tend to need some winter protection, but if I put my hand in there and give you some idea of the scale of this and the height of it, standing at around 4.5 feet. Put it into a large pot, probably going to have to give it some winter protection, but I'm quite prepared to do that, see if we can overwinter these. We've planted 2 in pots, and it just gives that lovely entrance to the little path now we've got meandering back towards the fruit cage. White dahlias and the oxeye daisies, which were so spectacular in here. Little perennial cornflowers coming through, and the daisies with that bright pink really shouldn't be in here at this stage of what we would want with the colourings, but a lot of this was planted several years ago and it's just coming up. We're going to move things around so that we get the planting that we want. In the foreground we've got pots with white geraniums, which just in between their first flush, and plenty of bud coming up on those, but they're not doing too much in terms of display. A lovely white perennial daisy coming up there, and more white dahlias. We've planted 2 roses. This is where the big lovely old French, I can't remember the name of it now, we have researched it and we have found it down at Peter Beale's, that stood here for all the time we've owned the farm and had to be moved because it was right in the middle of this gravel pathway and was going to obstruct the flow of this garden. We're hoping it's going to survive, but we dug it up with a mini digger, and I suspect it's probably been growing here for around 100 years because the roots went straight down through an old cobble farm courtyard or farmyard area, which once must have stood in this area, and there was very little fine root on the top. So they're struggling now, just stems. It's been knocked back. We're continuing to water it, and hopefully next season or later this season it will break bud. On the back of the barn we've put this lovely old butler seat, which was one that came out of one of these old stables just on a brick plinth with hot and cold running dog wash. They hate me, but it's very convenient, and actually is a vegetable washing station when we do bring salad and beans and other things from the vegetable garden that's still over towards the left hand aspect. It's very useful to have that. This lovely tall daisy that we've grown for many years. My old log store in the background, which is going to be phase 2 of this barn conversion. That's going to become a new separate living area when that's converted. It does need some attention. Been milking the roof and the battens, which, well, they aren't battens, it's sitting on reeds, those red pan tiles at the top. All going to be converted next March. I'm going to have to move the log store, and then we'll have more hard landscape coming out here, but at the moment it's coming together very nicely. We've got some solar lanterns that just lift this area in the evening, and it's a very peaceful area. I love just sitting looking at this planting. There's something very tranquil about having a white predominant flower garden at this time of year, particularly as the light starts fading as it is and the lanterns come on. Even with the outside lamps, this whole area just glows in the evening light. And this year, with the warm evenings that we've been having here in England, quite uncharacteristically warm, it's been lovely just having this big French window open and just enjoying sitting almost in the garden but on a comfy sofa. Really very lucky to have this. And what a transformation and a recovery it's made from all the destruction of that digging that it experienced earlier in the season. Thanks for watching.